job.
Ready?
Should be a fabulous couple of hours
Play.
coming up here at the Australian Open.
You know, sticking on that thought process,
15
Pedge,
love.
I know you're always interested in the technical aspects of stroke mechanics. Just watching the warm-up, looks to me like Holger's changed his forehand a little bit again. Looks to me like he's shortened. He used to really kind of, I would say, take the racket back in preparation. He looks like he's in a little bit more of what I would call a unit turn now. Still a little bit further back, but it definitely looks a little more compact in the backswing.
What do you teach? Do you teach shoulder turn as a unit turn or racket back?
I do not teach racket back, and I don't like that terminology. I actually ban that.
Good.
If I'm working with younger players, you know, kids, juniors, which I do a little bit now and then at home. I really enjoy being, and it doesn't matter what level they play at.
Not my level.
I think one of the biggest keys, to developing a good stroke is learning to make a proper unit turn. Wow. That ball, I'm sitting almost on that line, and I swear that ball looked, it must have caught the very outside of the line. Yeah. Yeah, the unit turns the foundation to making a good swing. Early look here for Holger.
Alessandro Begga, the former player that's now looking after Berrettini. And Vincenzo Santapadre breaking up a while ago. He was his long-time coach since he walked through the doors in Rome at the academy there. Oh, that's some save from the Italian. Opening game. And so much of the foundation of his success is built around his serve. Could be a big moment.
Absolutely. Last thing you want to do is drop serve here to open the matchup. It was impressive movement from Berrettini. Was all the way out, taking that forehand inside in as an approach, and then had to cover the cross court.
Berto Ferrari there, of course, Jannik Sinner's former physio, working alongside Berrettini these days, trying to keep that body together.
Advantage, Berrettini. Game, Berrettini.
That's a big save and a nice little scramble to safety early on. Mistakes or lessons at Holger's age in life?
Mistakes are lessons, right? I mean, at that age, we all make mistakes. And hopefully he has people around him that help him turn those mistakes into lessons. He's made plenty of mistakes from the standpoint of his presentation on court, and you know, he's been a little bit beat up, social media and other things for, you know, some of his explosiveness on the court at times. Might describe him as being a bit petulant at times on the court, childish, immature. It's funny, I think, because I don't think he's been any worse necessarily than a lot of other guys, but because of his age, we give him those labels, and so it's a little bit tough, a little bit hard on him, and you know, probably rightly so, because if you're a Holger Rune fan, you want him to be a great player, and in order to be a great player, he probably needs to get rid of some of those personality traits.
He was actually working in TV over in the States at the end of last year, and his kind of ranking popped up, of course, after the semi-finals in Paris, and you kind of think to yourself, wow, everyone's saying what a terrible season he's had, and he's finished the year at 13.
Yeah, he was in the same boat with Tommy at the end of the year last year. I mean, he was making a push to get back into the top 10. For him, back into the top 10. You know, Tommy was making a push to try and reach the top 10, and they were you know, following the same path at that point, looking at everybody else's results, trying to get the best results they could through the very end of the year to try and finish the year top 10, and he was right there.
Do you know where Tommy sits in live ranking right now?
Yes, Petch. I'm not going to say it.
Just checking.
40.
We had a little chat about it yesterday. You know, we had a lot of time yesterday with the rain and everything before he got on, and it was funny. We were both talking about how he's kind of backed into that position right now at on the live ranking, and it's not real until the end of the tournament. So live ranking's nice, but it doesn't translate to an actual number next year named for the rest of your career.
Well,
but we'll take
three guys behind him are already gone.
Yeah, we'll take it, and that's what I'm talking about. You know, he's kind of backed in. He had Tsitsipas, Grigor, Dimitrov, and Rublev that all, you know, got bounced in the first round, and obviously was to his benefit.
Game Runa. One game.
That's what we wanted.
4
A nice couple of holds early on here, and this is the win predictor coming in here pre-match. Runa at 57%. That is that's kind of a beige prediction, really, from the win predictor. It's usually a little bit more sort of a kaleidoscope of colours when it comes through.
Yeah, I might put it closer than that. Yeah, going into this, you know, obviously Holger's been. Holger's been maybe healthier, has a few more results to work off of, but I'd put this at a coin flip.
And to see him be a little deeper, I would imagine, on the ad side to Berrettini, trying to pick up this serve. You saw him sort of hugging the baseline on the juice side, just to see whether that continues.
Great attacking play there from Berrettini.
15-all.
The Aussies love a good catch in the crowd.
Yeah, well, they must drop it so many times that when they do grab one, they're over the moon. Yeah, that deeper position on the outside just working out quite nicely there for Runa, and if Brad's eyes are correct, that little shorter swing for Holger is going to buy himself a little bit more time on the return. It's gone back to the same place there. Berrettini's serve is one of the best out there, not just because of the pace, that coming in at 214, but because he can hit all 4 corners equally well in any situation. He may miss out wide on the ad and deuce, maybe a fraction of a percent more than the ones down the tee. But for the most part, it is a devastating weapon that is very difficult to get back into play. And then he backs it up with the forehand as we go to 2-1 in the opener after 10 minutes. Dug in quite a bit about his serve, Berrettini. Andy played him, Murray, back in 21 on the grass, and I went back to help Andy for a few months, and it was phenomenal. When you just look at the accuracy, you look at the variety, there is no read on that serve. You are somewhat guessing.
Very difficult, and then you add to that the fact that he finds a forehand an extremely high percentage of the time off first serve. It's very hard to direct the return and find the backhand. So, you know, those 2 weapons in his game have been what pays the bills for him.
The footy stadium over on the right, and then of course the iconic MCG to the left over the tramway and the railway. But actually one of the most beautiful as well. Done an incredible job redesigning this site.
Wow. That was really well done from Holger. That was not an easy play off this topspin lob at the end. This was a good approach shot from Berrettini. Look how close to the baseline that ball was. To be able to get that up and down from that position is impressive. Oh. Got caught with his movement there a little bit. Had his shoulders facing to the deuce side of the court, looking for a ball up the line, and had to turn there. It looked a little awkward there. Petch, do you think the all-white look for Holger is an attempt to change the persona? He usually goes all black. He's trying to make a statement that he's the good guy now.
I don't think it's that deep. It makes sense to play in that colour in the heat of the Australian summer, but that doesn't make sense as he drops himself behind in this 4th game.
Big forehand there. Pay attention as well. Holger serving into the backhand on the last couple balls. Berrettini doesn't have a great backhand. Everyone knows that. But his return backhand is so short and compact. I'm a believer that on first serve, you have to serve at the forehand a fair amount. You come to the backhand, and he's very good at just kind of neutralizing that ball and making sure he gets it into play. Oh. Job from Holger there.
30-14.
That's what we saw right there as well. All the backhands in that point from Berrettini just kind of maneuvered around the court. Not a lot of pace on the ball. As soon as he got a forehand, the pace and weight of the shot just picks up enormously.
Berrettini.
And he was the one that was under pressure early on in his opening service game, but it is Berrettini who grabs the first break of this opening set. Didn't play the Australian last year because of that foot injury where he rolled the ankle at the US Open previous year. Great surprise that he's just a little bit higher than average after getting a relatively early break in a set and going on to win it. Well, that was a poor shot selection from Holger.
Yeah, that was a bailout, absolute bailout there. That's frustration held over from the break. That ball's a basic backhand cross court from that position.
Yeah, he's still frustrated, isn't he?
Absolutely. You see the body language. He's turned to the box there. And this again is where it's the emotional control that translates to mentality.
Love. Let's first one. Game Berrettini.
Again, hugely accurate.
Berrettini leads by
takes the
4 games
racket
to
out of
1
Runa's hand, 4-1 to the Italian. Top of the other coaches we were talking about, Brad's Severin Ludin, Boris, obviously Patrick Mouratoglou. He had Benjamin Ibrahimzadeh September of last year. Kenneth Carlson, of course, for as well as a. Yep. I mean, that's a lot of voices. That's more wins than I had. He's had coaches.
Yeah, it's a lot of voices. That's exactly what it is. And obviously you're going to get a little bit of a different take from different people. And yeah, you need some stability there. You need to find someone that you have confidence in, that you respect, that you can listen to, and that you can have conversations with and be honest with. And he was having a hard time with that.
Time.
Runa picking up that title in Paris in just dramatic fashion, no question about that. Then he put together a nice 3 wins in Indian Wells. That was the longest sort of winning streak by a teenager at the Masters 1000 since Novak back in 2007. Rafa had the best as a teenager. He had 18 in a row as a teenager.
That's above average. For me, as I said in the last service game from Holger, I would go a little bit more on the first serve to the forehand, then come back to the backhand on the second. Berrettini has trouble generating his own pace. On the second serve, it's a little bit tougher for him.
30-11.
Try to put a little more pace on his second serve. One of the things that they have noted was that his second serve last season was a little bit slower than when he was peaking at the back end of 22 and 23. But obviously, as you go through that readjustment, potential double faults come into play.
14
So that was one of the
10.
clear and obvious things that he did during that run in 2022. The second serve he was hitting it enormously, actually. And he wasn't double faulting very much. He was coming up with it under pressure. That's well played. Good read by Holger to follow that in.
Rune. Berrettini leads by 4-2 for set.
How difficult is it to not be distracted? Or I mean, Runa that year picked up his 9th career top 10 win after Paris. He was 19 years old, 6 months. That was more top 10 wins than Rafa had at the same age, who had 8. Roger had 5, Novak 3. When you start getting into that conversation and those names start getting circulated around with your name,
expectation is a tough thing to manage at times, and I've said this for years and years as a coach and to the players that I work with, that managing success is not easy. Managing success, in my mind, is more difficult than managing failure. Failure is pretty easy. You go back out on the court and you get to work. Success is about managing the expectations, and you start to get a lot more noise around you. Wow. That was impressive. Yeah, look, there's just a lot more noise. There's more demands on your time. I mean, you throw out those numbers like you're talking about there, Mark, and all of a sudden, you know, media wants to talk to you more. You've got more requirements at tournaments. Everything gets busier. And also you start to believe a little bit your own press releases. And that gets dangerous sometimes. Staying humble, keeping the focus on the work, on the process that got you there, even if you are young, is extremely important. And sometimes it gets lost a little bit in all that noise and all that shuffle.
Oh, he's misjudged it badly.
Very badly there.
Because the opening sequence of shots there from Runa were as good as you can do.
Absolutely. That was three inches inside the baseline.
That's a bit of a reprieve for Berrettini. Could have been under some significant pressure. And it is 5-2 to the Italian. A shot there at Luca, his dad. And not been easy for him as well. We must also commend him on those comebacks that he's had to have. There's his dad there looking on. It's certainly not been easy. He was the man that actually asked Vincenzo Santopadre to look after both of his sons. Of course, his other brother at times was considered better than Matteo, but that hasn't been how it's panned out as of yet. Bit of a late starter as well. He wasn't one of these guys that played a lot of juniors. I think he ended up picking up his first point when he was about 18 or something. It was a session, 2 sessions out here. Runa in trouble. 2-5 opening set.
15-11.
Just to stick a pin in that point about how difficult, and yeah, Berrettini is not the first person this tournament that feels as though a ball is that far out, but it's been called in by ELC. Everybody saying that ELC was going to be much more perfect than humans. Be interesting to see what we think of that by the end of 2025.
No comment. It's infallible, right?
Yeah, because you can't argue.
Because you can't argue. No, if it says it's in, when they show the replay, it's always in. It's not going to show that it made a mistake.
I want to stick a pin in the point about Runa and what he's had to deal with, you know, because he had such an exceptional 2022. Midway through 2023 in August, he and Alcaraz were two 20-year-olds that were ranked inside the world's top 4 of the ATP Tour. That hadn't happened since '92. Sampras and Ivanisevic were the only other two that had done that. And then you look at Carlos's career continue the way it has, and kind of his. It's not easy.
Nicely done. Yeah, I think if you're going to compare those two, I think the difference has been that
by 5 games to 3.
Carlos has done a better job managing the success. He's been quieter about it. He's been more humble about it. Maybe that has to do with some of the people around him and that are controlling. Maybe with Holger at times, I think he was his own worst enemy on social media, making comments early on about how, you know, I mean, he said he and Carlos and Sinner were going to be the next big 3, and those are tough statements to stand up to. And so I think some of that was self-imposed. He created his own expectations, and then trying to meet those expectations was really difficult.
He's got a little bit of life in the legs there after that surprising miss from Berrettini.
Yeah, I like that reaction. I like that body language. A little hop step to the other side to get ready to return. That's a bomb.
15-0.
201 and found the line. Great return there, set that up.
50.
Put Berrettini under pressure right away. I think it's a good play to mix in that return hard to the forehand as well. Berrettini's always looking to move to his left, trying to find a forehand. That's a perfect example of what you were saying earlier,
13.
He goes down left 15, ace down the tee, and then that bomb out wide to the backhand. Just so hard to read and predict where he's going to go. What a great approach shot.
40-13.
Little old school chip off the backhand, but right on the baseline. Pushed Holger back there to try and make that pass.
That's a good example of what you're talking about on the backhand side. Solid return, but just sometimes struggles a little bit with a long follow through, keeping the ball on the strings. More often than not, he kind of likes to play it down the line to force you to have to hit your forehand cross court back into his forehand.
It's a bit of a bunt off that side. He just kind of bunts it around the court, and you're exactly right. He tries to create that pattern where he plays up the line to the forehand of his opponents, teasing them to try and play cross court from there so he can get back to his forehand. Holger stood in and then the last minute backpedaled to try and play that a little bit deeper, but I think he actually didn't create enough time for himself to get settled and really be able to hit that ball from that position. You know, you're trying to mislead your opponent there a little bit, but he's almost better off if he wants to return from a deep position, just stand deep. Oh.
Did a nice job with the faded forehand return there, Runa, to find the backhand of Berrettini. Didn't overplay it. It wasn't a quick serve coming in by the Italian standards. Berrettini almost outmaneuvered himself there for a real marginal gain on the forehand.
Absolutely, absolutely. He wanted a forehand so bad there that he actually put himself in a tough position where he was going to have to recover back into the court. Put Holger in a position where he was going to be able to hurt him either behind him or in front of him. Oh. Real chance here now with a second serve.
Runa injects new life into this opening set with a breakback. Berrettini can't seal it. 5-4.
Berrettini leads by 5 games to 4 for sets.
That was some interesting stuff in that last rally, Brad. There was the off-pace forehand down the line from Runa that gave Berrettini no pace on the backhand to work with, which he loves. I was a bit surprised that Berrettini didn't continue to slice a little bit more. Maybe on that side, but then when he did get the opportunity to go into the forehand side with his own forehand, he developed quite a bit of pace on that shot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We were both cognizant of that first forehand that Holger hit a little bit of an off pace, just lifted ball through the backhand side. Got it up a little bit more, and as you said, Berrettini choosing to hit the two-hander there. He hasn't used the slice a lot in this first set, other than as an approach shot. He normally uses the slice a lot to kind of maneuver around the court and then find his forehand.
At times in the air it's a tennis club, at times during this tournament it can sound a little bit like a nightclub, but it is a wonderful atmosphere that these two are enjoying out here at the moment as we savor this opening set. Runa back in it, 4-5.
serve there. This is one of my
15
favorite
love.
courts here as well, Mark, because it's a big stadium, but it's filled with the common spectator here. It's only a grounds pass to get onto this court, so you get a little bit of a rowdier crowd here. Nice close by Holger there. Good movement coming forward.
30-11.
Somebody that is very comfortable being up at net, Runa.
That's another thing. I think when he was going through some of the struggles, it seemed like he was kind of grasping at a few things. He was talking about how he was going to start serving and volleying all the time, and actually started attacking. You know, it's great to attack, but it's got to be a little bit measured with your level of competence coming forward and recognizing how to play like that. And it was something that
5 games all
I don't
for
think
set.
he did really in the right way. It's not that he can't come forward. He can. We saw him there, and his volley technique is pretty good.
It's an interesting forehand, isn't it? How quick the unit turn is.
I would describe it as him still setting the racket. He sets the racket a little bit. I think he separates his hand and he breaks. Like, I don't like for a player in their unit turn to go past their hip pocket. He sets the racket. He used to set it really, really far behind the pocket. Now he's not quite as far right here. And again, like I said, I think that's a little bit of a change, maybe going back to Lars.
Please.
Going through a very cold patch here, Berrettini.
Love
He needs to find some first serves again. He's giving Holger too many looks at second serves, and Holger's very comfortable right now with the second serve return, making Matteo play every single point.
Right on cue. Does find a first serve.
15,
Dip the pace a little bit, down under 195. That's more placement for this man than power.
Yeah, that was out wide, always a little bit slower. Took something off that one and still didn't get it in. 184, and that was going almost semi-kickage. Good depth on that ball.
13.
That first serve didn't necessarily stretch him, but got up and got on him quickly there, just beat him with the pace. 213 on that one.
Doing a really good job behind the first serve of Berrettini when he is making them, and he's made a lot of them in this opening set. 72% coming in for the Italian, and he is usually up around 80% of points won behind his first serve, but at the moment sitting at 64.
Advantage, Berrettini.
Yeah, that position right there on the move to the ball. He also has a little bit more of a bend in the elbow than it used to be. When he would take it back earlier and further previously, there was a bit of a stiffness almost in the elbow.
Berrettini leads by 6 games to 5 first set.
Berrettini passes that particular test to lead 6-5. Well, while we do sit down, let's take a little bit of a look at this particular forehand. Talk me through it, Brad.
Looks great so far.
I can do this.
And we'll see here that he separates his hands right there, and then that's definitely, for me, I think if you go back, anybody that wants to, you know, go back and look at Holger's forehand from 6 months, a year and a half ago, and the set was further back. It was longer. The arm was more extended, and he held it in that position longer. I like the look of where he's at now.
It's been good times for Italian men's tennis in the last few years. Of course, getting through to that Wimbledon final in 2021, he would become the first Italian men's singles finalist at a slam since Panatta all the way back in Roland Garros in 1976. Of course, Jannik came along, surpassed that.
Quickly, just behind the players, quickly, please. Thank you.
Life comes at you fast. Yeah, he's looking over in his box there because the one thing that no player, specifically somebody like Berrettini with his spin rate on his forehand, likes doing is missing in the net. And the last handful of errors have come in the net for the Italian.
Nice, comfortable little serve and one there. Good position. Holger coming to that ball again. Shoulders closed. Oh! String tension. Something there. You know the old saying, Mark. When the archer misses the target, he doesn't look at the bow.
Game Rune.
Yeah, Runa comes into the opening set breaker with a little more momentum than Berrettini right now, who's just been a little patchy.
It's always an interesting conversation that you can create. You know, those forehand errors that Berrettini's making, are they technical, or are they mechanical, or are they mental?
Thank you. Ready for play.
For me, it always starts with the mental aspect. Eyes, seeing the ball, picking up the ball. That translating to a little bit better position with your feet. The better your feet are, the normally the more consistent your swing is going to be, and then point of contact. Trying to be consistent with the point of contact. To me right now, and especially when you're moving as dynamically as these guys are, and Berrettini, you know, he's just a little bit off with his positioning, just a little bit off with the point of contact, not quite as consistent as he wants to be. Nice forehand cross to open the court and then cut that angle off well.
Yeah, he just
didn't hit this massively.
No.
Didn't have to because he had opened the court so much, and then nice close.
And you kind of get that length on the ball, and your opponent has to almost run on the diagonal away to be able to get behind it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's for serve.
That's a tough pass for anybody, much less Matteo, not the strongest backhand from that position on the run.
Runa.
Mike James in the white hat that's in front there. He's the data analyst for Holger, works for Patrick Mouratoglou down there in Nice. Can't understand why he swapped Leicester in the UK for Nice, but hey.
Wanted to learn French. It's pretty good, Mark. You've gotten in. Best coaches in the world are English. The beautiful Ilkley, and now Leicester.
He's flying. Great tennis from the Dane.
3-1.
Holger's picked his game up as this set's moved on. Once he got that break back, gained a little extra confidence. He's feeling good right now. Little tactical error in there for me, the second backhand. Berrettini did a good job with that first backhand slice, knifed that ball. Holger worked to get around and find a forehand, but pulled him off the court more, and I thought the second ball should have been a slice. And Berrettini went to the two-hander.
Runa.
Not a bad little stab volley there from Berrettini, but Runa read it. Anticipation was there, as was the speed of foot.
So was his, watch this explosiveness. He exploded to that ball for me. The movement from where he was when he hit that first little chip was impressive. Really well done.
5-1 Runa.
Berrettini walking to his chair a little disappointed with how this opening set has now panned out, having served for it 5-3. He was a little disappointed that he didn't get past Cam Norrie in the opening set, but he put that behind him and then managed to reel off the next three, the Italian. And it looks as though it's going to be another similar scenario for Berrettini in the second round.
Especially frustrating for him when he was serving for a set. It's got to be in the back of your head. You know you served for a set like that.
Well, that was a weird decision from Runa to serve at 152 into the Berrettini forehand.
Yeah. It's one thing to go to the forehand. It's another thing to go to the forehand with a slow kind of nothing serve. Berrettini jumped on that ball.
Set may not be out of the Italian's reach now.
Yeah, one mini break now if he can get through these 2 points.
Let's for serve.
Needs to find his first serve here through the rest of this breaker. even if he's not winning the point outright, he wants to play that serve and one, find the forehand,
Runa.
dictate, get control of the point right away. Holger's been doing a very good job of neutralizing that, not allowing him to be able to hurt him enough on the first ball.
Six, 3, Runa.
Berrettini potentially with the reprieve when Holger served that slow serve into the forehand side, but it doesn't look as though the outcome is going to be what the Italian was hoping for. 3 set points, 2 of them coming on his own serve for Runa.
Halt.
First set, Rune.
What a turnaround. And that feels
By 7
very
games to
significant.
6.
Confidence now for the 21-year-old. Up a set. Not just the scoreboard on his side, but Louise Azamir Engzel in the chair calling him Holger. So they're on first name terms. So it's nice when you hear that from the umpire. I feel like, unfortunately, he's not going to get any favourable calls. There's nothing she can do about that.
Yeah, that was a little faux pas, on her part. I wonder if she was sitting in a chair after she said that and realized it and was like, "Oh goodness, I can't do that."
There, the turn of the tape. It was Holger coming up with winners galore by the end. It was a bit of a sticky start for the Dane, but he managed to put that to one side. But the unforced errors, and so many of them, Brad, coming off that forehand wing for Matteo.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 things that stand out to me are the unforced errors, and then also the win percentage on first and second serve, both significantly in Holger's favor.
He's had a decent blend, has Holger, in going into that forehand side of Berrettini. Of course, that does force the Italian to have to play a little bit more centrally in the middle of the court. Maybe doesn't get quite as many forehands into play.
Time. Love 15.
Can he give himself a bit of a lift here? Perhaps grab an early break. And again, because he's tucked it inside in with that forehand often enough, that Berrettini has to kind of keep perfectly balanced, can't keep loitering around in that backhand side. And he has created some nice space on the tennis court, has Holger.
Let's first serve.
forehand he's been searching for, and that is the luxury of best of 5 for somebody like Berrettini right now, that he has a little extra time to figure out what's been going wrong on that wing.
Fifteen, 14.
Berrettini at his best.
Game Berrettini.
Been a couple of crunching forehands in that particular game, and that bodes well for the Italian. And a little bit of experience for the 28-year-old. He must have been disappointed with himself at the back end of that opening set, but he has come out all guns blazing to grab that early break. And Holger might well give the sarcastic thumbs up to his camp there, but it was him himself that was looking down the line with the forehand approach, and he was a little late getting back for the overhead because of it.
Yeah, bad choice there technically and tactically. Also, so common after the intensity of a tiebreaker to have a little bit of a letdown. We see this so often within our sport.
Fifteen, 11.
Out.
15 all.
Out.
30 for 10.
Starting to find the groove on the serve.
Yeah, this is a confident looking hold.
Out. 40-30.
Surprising error there from Holger that time. That's a little bit of what we saw from
Berrettini leads by 2 games to love.
Matteo Berrettini going through the end of the first set. Holger with a great return there. Got him exactly what he wanted from that forehand. Just couldn't execute.
$15-11.
One of his favourite shots, that little +1 drop shot, a little bit like Alcaraz.
15.
It's a little bit wild right now.
15-13.
This has to be mentality more than anything else. An absolute collection of chaos here from Runa at the start of this second set. It's almost as though the opening set took so much out of him mentally to stay involved, and then obviously to claim it, that he's started a little flat here in the second.
Good first serve. Needed that.
13.
Got to get himself through this game. Berrettini, on the other hand, here with a good look to get himself another opportunity to break.
Oh, yes.
The slice pass.
That was like a Ken Rosewall special.
30-14.
He definitely saw Runa coming here. That was a picture perfect slice. Technique, the mechanics on that were pretty. Nice response from Runa.
Juice. Let's first serve.
Well, they tried to go full Stevie Johnson there, but they're not too good.
Advantage.
Little
Rune.
homage to Stevie Johnson.
Absolutely.
That slice up the line was pretty outside the court almost until it landed, but Holger finding forehands on every single one of those slices. Tell you what, you have to work to get those slices up and down, though, when you're hitting forehands. It can take a toll physically. Back to the two-hander with a winner.
Such a nice looking shot that when he goes line, isn't it? When he goes cross-court, and actually saw it in the tiebreaker, when he's kind of mid-court, he struggles to find that sort of three-quarter length cross-court because it doesn't get quite as much backhand, left hand, I should say, in it, and then you can see both elbows bend as you come through.
Yeah, he doesn't release the racket head. Just like you said, the left hand doesn't break at the wrist, and so the racket head doesn't get through as much to help him get it cross court.
Actually gets a bit of help from that racket. I haven't hit with it, but I know people that have, and it's like a mallet. It's like a hammer. It's so heavy in the head. So once it does get going, the racket head kind of goes on its own.
Not up.
And yet he has an unbelievable feel, which is not easy to do with a racket that's set up like that.
Rune is challenging the double bounce call that I called.
Well, this will be interesting because if he's right, Runa, he's going to get a replay of the point.
This is one of the plays that video review is now allowed. I think it's a smart thing. I think it's a good thing to have it available. It's one of the calls that the chair umpires seem to struggle with a little bit still.
I'm right in saying that they watch it on the screen, don't they? We don't get to see it in real time as the call comes in. I mean, I personally, just because that's who I am.
I know it's coming. Oh, that's a get.
He's got that, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He got the racket underneath that for sure. And you can see the backspin on the ball.
Yeah,
that's always a sign.
They've seen it up on the big screen here, Brad.
Yeah, that's always a sign as to whether you did or didn't get the ball. Generally, if you get the ball on a second bounce, it has a little bit of topspin on it. If you do get it on the single bounce, it has a little bit of underspin on it. I don't mind the video review. I like it. It's got to happen a little faster than this. Too much of a delay here.
Yep.
Berrettini waiting on the do side. Runa waiting on the ad side. Hey, that was my point. No, we're replaying that.
Okay, let's look. Let's look. Let's look. He's got it.
He's definitely gotten it.
He's got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Matteo kind of knows. He's almost like walking this way already. Yeah, he's.
Ladies and gentlemen, you will now receive that the call was overturned, so the point will be replayed. There was only one bounce.
Are they unhappy because we're replaying the point? Are they unhappy because it took so long?
Or are they unhappy because the umpire made a mistake? That was an easy put away for Berrettini.
That's the thing about it, is that, you know, she's clearly made a mistake on that cost Berrettini the point. He was going to win that point, obviously.
Well, let's brought the crowd into the proceedings out here.
Balls, please.
Berrettini, however, needs to focus on the scoreboard, not what just happened. It is 2-1 to the Italian with the break. I mean, it will always be my standpoint forever, is that I kind of miss that about the lines people, because there's no question that, you know, the crowd gets more engaged in those kind of decisions. You're going to make a few bad ones along the way, but that's life. Life isn't perfect. We don't live in utopia. Well, I don't. Maybe you do, Brad, but I don't. But you know, and then you get that, and then you suddenly get a little fan engagement coming out of that from the overall.
Yeah, I'm kind of caught in the middle between those two things. You know, it's like I definitely like the presentation of the court, much cleaner without all the lines people out there. It's a better look. It gives us a little bit more of a gladiator feel with just the two players out there. I do at times miss some of the controversy that's created by human error. But I don't know. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not even sure, Mark.
Time.
West side of the stadium in nice shade, as are the south side where Berrettini's serving, and the north side here. A little bit of sunshine for those in the east still. Berrettini looks calm enough despite what just unfolded in the last couple of minutes.
That's well done. That's a long way to go to hit a forehand.
15-11.
Nicely done.
30.
I wonder how much time in Matteo's fitness training he spends working on backpedaling to his left. Serious question. I'm sure he does some. I wonder if he does an inordinate amount, knowing that that's one of his most important, most significant movement patterns. Little adjustment here in the second set. He's definitely using the slice backhand more than he was in the first set. I think it's important for a player like Berrettini to have a balance. Use the slice, use the two-hander. Don't try and overplay one or the other.
For 10.
Berrettini. Where do you stand on talent ID?
Talent ID.
Yeah.
Berrettini.
Federations love a bit of talent ID.
They do. They normally have people that are in charge of that. Are we talking about 3-year-olds or
no,
or,
teens,
just any players at any age?
18, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's if you're a federation, that's part of your responsibility, right? And you need someone that does a good job with that. And
how accurate do you think it is?
The question is, I was just going to say, the question in some ways is, what are the criteria that you're looking at?
15-11.
I think too often they look at physical attributes, and it's hard to measure heart and character and commitment and work ethic sometimes, especially when kids are still in the juniors and where they're going to develop to. I would say most of the guys that do that for federations probably do a pretty good job, all in all. Oh my goodness. That was an absolute rocket.
15.
That was a frozen rope down the line. On the run.
You cannot hit a tennis ball any better than that.
Nice response from Holger.
30.
I asked because you're absolutely right. That's exactly what Berrettini had to do in his mid-teens, was do a whole kind of bunch of athletic tests: running, jumping, reaction time, stamina. And by his own admission, he was considerably the worst out of everybody.
I mean, the thing is, and one of the things about our sport, and generally sport, no one can keep you from being a great player.
30 all.
Getting the support of your federation when you're from a country like Italy, or you're from England, or from the US or Australia or France or those kind of countries, it's important. It gives you a sense that someone's recognizing what you're doing. But there's a lot of guys, and you know, the guy that pops into my mind right now is Hadi Habib. How much support did he get from the Lebanese Tennis Federation? And he, you know, here he is playing the main draw at the Australian Open. I mean, he's done that primarily on his own. And if you have the work ethic and you reach out to the right people, there's people out there that can help you outside of your own federation, no matter where you're from.
Oh. 30-14.
Foot in the door again for a second break.
Mid-teens, he's been close to the top of his class for the rest of it after he's turned pro. It is Berrettini on top, 4-1.
Second set.
Good hustle there. Almost felt as though it hit the backhand return too well and hadn't given himself any time to recover. And Runa had exploited it.
Yeah, for me, this is a required squash shot. He runs through this and hits the squash shot. It's not one of the open stance sliders to a squash shot there. He had to make that play, and the ball stayed down and through the court. It's a tough up and down to pick up for Rune here. See him coming forward. Look how low that ball was when he hit it. It was between his knees and his ankle.
Even when he's intense, he looks photoshopped, doesn't he? Perfection. Holger Rune, one of the most intense players out there. You've seen that between the lines. He's talked about it often enough, about when he was growing up as well. And you could hear a bit of the intensity coming.
Time.
Needs to get back and focus on what's happening here with him and Berrettini, more importantly. He won the game. He got the video review. Everything worked in his favor in the end, and yet he's still moaning about it right now, venting his frustration.
Yeah, that's again going back to what we talked about before. Sometimes he can be a little bit petulant. His focus not on what he needs to be focused on is producing better tennis. Let's try and get a break back right here. The thing is that everybody I know plays better tennis when they're calm and quiet in the head. And there's obviously stuff running around in his head right now. It doesn't help him produce his best tennis. Wouldn't be surprised, as we saw in the first set after he got broken, if we see a point or two here that's got some angry shots in it. It's one of the things that he does on a bit of a regular basis. It takes him a while to get recentered and find his mental focus and concentration to play his best tennis when he goes through these kind of moments where he's struggling a little bit. That's a good shot.
15.
For any player at any level, once your attitude starts to affect your effort, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Meaning negative attitude, bad attitude. And he lets that happen at times. You know, just for a few points here and there, maybe a game. We saw it in the first set. He was able to recover and get the break back and win that first set, but it's an area that he just needs to grow in. He's kept himself alive in this game with a couple of big forehands. Berrettini, on the other hand, is wanting to press this lead even more, stretch it. Perfect point for Matteo. Great first serve.
40-30.
Put Runa on the full stretch there just to try and fight the ball back into play. 214 Ks. That's a few miles per hour. It's just over 130.
Got a couple of things in tennis that kind of benchmark where you are mentally in matches, and credit to Rune. Just looking at his results from last year, having lost the opening set, you would think maybe with his fiery temperament that wouldn't be a particularly good stat for him, but 26 matches last year, he was down a set. In 10 of them, he came back to win it. It's a pretty good record when you look at everyone's season.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And I consider him to be a very good competitor, very good. Wow, that ball has found the line.
Advantage.
He's giving himself a chance here to get one of these breaks back. You feel so far out of a set sometimes at 2 breaks down, but let me tell you, Tommy Paul was up 6-0, 4-0 in the second and third last night. And all of a sudden it was 3-4 on serve, K serving, and you're feeling the pressure. You're feeling dicey out there. Holger can get this first one back here. Make a world of difference for him in this set.
He's gone bigger with second serves in this game, and they've been flashed past him, but that one actually came in a little slower but lifted faster.
That's huge. Stand and deliver on that forehand.
Runa.
Got himself loaded on his right leg, really strong there. Serving one again from Berrettini. That's his bread and butter. First serve, find the forehand.
Berrettini was on his way before Runa had even thought about hitting it.
Advantage, Berrettini.
Sight keys mark. He saw that Holger was going to that open racket face. Knew what Holger was going to do before Holger could do it. Again, for me, it's interesting. Berrettini hit the first 2 chips from a pretty central position in the court, and then he's actually put on defense and chooses to play the defense with a 2-handed backhand, which just gets the ball to Runa faster, basically taking time away from himself. That third backhand for me is absolutely a slice backhand. Could have hit either of the first 2.
Advantage, Berrettini.
What do I know?
Quite a lot. Once again, trademark sequence of shots from Berrettini moves him to within 1 game of this second set. He was there in the opener, but just the one break that he had.
Leads by 5 games to 1, second set.
How's that grip on his forehand side? Finishes down by his left hip a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah,
a lot of cover over the ball.
We say this. I don't like this terminology, but we call that kind of the modern forehand with that grip and the follow through. I mean, I think that forehand is pretty normal for that grip.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
We are ready up and through the ball. I mean, we've seen him a couple times today. The one that I called a frozen rope, where he can absolutely flatten that out with that grip as much as he wants to. Him, Taylor Fritz, there's quite a few guys that hold that grip and hit very flat penetrating forehands, but they can also cover the ball a lot when they want to. I have no problem whatsoever with Matteo's forehand grip. I wish someone had taught me that grip when I was younger.
It worked well with your 420-gram Dunlop Max Ply 4 or not?
I think
leather grip.
Growing up in California, I wasn't sure we were allowed to hold that grip.
But there's no way that grip could have worked with an 85 square inch
85?
racket. Yeah, 80.
I was playing with a wooden Jack Kramer Pro Staff.
Yeah.
That's not even... how big is that head? It's not very big.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I actually don't know how many square inches it is. But yeah.
You couldn't have played with that grip because you cannot rip up the back of the ball.
It would have been hard. It would have been hard, that's for sure. I might have gotten ranked top 50 in my section in juniors if I'd had that grip.
Talking of grips, Berrettini's got a firm one on this second set. Couple of breaks to the good as he looks to level things up here in the second set. What was it? The autograph? Did you get the autograph? Jack Kramer autograph?
I played with the Pro Staff.
The Pro Staff, Jack Kramer.
Yeah, I played with the Pro Staff. That's what I played with through.
The autograph was 68 square inches.
68 square inches.
Yeah.
Well, the Pro Staff was the same. It was they're the same. Just the Pro Staff just was a nicer racket, little stiffer.
Hold on, let me put this in. 1950. What was it when you?
You're talking about when I was born or when I was playing tennis?
When you were playing. I know you when you were born. It was 1936.
I played in the 70s and the 80s. I hope I live that long.
Time.
It's an absolute perler of a day here in Melbourne now. Some people would like it a little bit warmer, but actually, to be honest, sitting and watching tennis is about as ideal as it gets, certainly for the players. They won't have any heat and humidity problems. Berrettini hoping he doesn't have the same problems that he had at the end of the opening set where he couldn't close it out.
Laver Arena.
Little gift to start the first game. Sorry, the last game, hopefully. You got me flustered now, Mark.
Yeah, it was about 70 square inches. Just managed to take one up there in black and white.
15
In black and white. I still have a couple at home.
Vintage stuff there. Retro is the rage. It's been kind of an interesting sort of last few games here for Holger. He's sort of loitering on the edge of not caring, but has hit the ball well enough to kind of put a bit of pressure on Berrettini's last service game. But he doesn't want to disengage for too long.
He's hanging around, finding a way to stay in these games, same as the last game. Became a battle.
I know it's tough to serve and volley behind a 200K plus first serve, but would it be wise for him occasionally?
100%, and I disagree on the, it's difficult. Earns himself a set point here. It's only difficult if the returner gets on the return and hits it clean. But you're assuming at 207 that you're expecting something that's a little bit less than clean. And also, why not serve body at 207? You got to figure at body, you're going to get something that doesn't have a lot of pace on it.
Set point.
Oh.
And I asked that because actually the previous return from Runa was a good example of that. He didn't chip it, but he kind of blocked it flat long. And if you never think your opponent's going to come in, you've kind of got the luxury of being able to do that. But if you just served and volleyed once or twice, you feel as though Runa would have to either try and chip it short or drive through it.
Well done from Matteo there. Serving two. Serve big forehand to the offside, followed in. Good play. But as you had said there, Mark, that was a block forehand that was floating through the court. If he had serve and volleyed there, that's a pretty easy volley to close off and knock off for a winner in the court. That's classic Holger Rune. That's from back in 2022 right there. Big return. Nice pickup, honestly, from Matteo. About as good as he could do, and then working to his left, and that ball is absolutely pummeled. Second one in this game.
Advantage, Runa.
Did a great job on the second serve, jamming him there to the forehand. Pretty basic ball sitting in the middle of the court there for Berrettini to miss. Guessing game now for Runa. Where's Berrettini go?
Juice.
Yeah, that one was right in the wheelhouse.
He's concerned about the now, but it's actually the pass that's cost him this set. Slow start to the second, never really recovered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Touch there on a big point.
Advantage.
That's one of the beautiful things about watching
Berrettini.
Berrettini, the delta between the destructive nature of his forehand that we've seen and then that deftness of touch on the dropper. Third set point.
Second set, Berrettini.
To the delight of the
games
fans,
to
the
two.
queued up to
One
watch
set.
this match tonight. Berrettini puts it at 1 apiece. Idea was right, wasn't it? Really good racket head acceleration through the ball there for Berrettini. Just didn't get the elevation right.
Impressive change of direction there.
15
That was exactly like the one you were talking about earlier, Mark. If we watch here, the racket face kind of slides across the ball there a little bit. It's perfect for him for that setup to take the ball down the line from that position. Oh.
Is that because he grips with the right hand tighter than the left, and therefore it kind of pulls across the swing path?
Yeah, I mean, hard to know his grip tension from up here, but he definitely doesn't release the left hand. The wrist just doesn't break much, and you can see as the racket gets out in front, the racket head stays off to the side of the racket, to the left of his body a little bit. It never really like leads through the swing. We can intone him again. Stevie Johnson. That's exactly what Stevie's issue was. When and if you talk to Stevie, I think he would tell you that he just never really was able to get the left hand to release, and so when he would try and hit the backhand cross, I think Matteo does a better job, obviously, than Stevie did. But Stevie would leave the backhand when he tried to hit over it. He would leave it in the middle of the court way too much. Matteo doesn't do that quite as much. As long as he gets himself out behind the ball, he can still get it cross.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness, that's a volley. Wow. That's a little highlight for anybody that likes coming forward. This chip approach was so pretty, penetrating through the court, but that's some talent. Hit that behind himself, but it was amazing how stable the racket head was. That's a nice jammer from Holger.
Game Rune.
Yeah, not his quickest of the day, which is
First game,
207, but it
third
was
set.
getting there. 203 from Runa. Much better start to the third than, of course, for the second. I was talking earlier, I didn't finish the story. It's so intense, Holger. I mean, he's talked openly about the sacrifices he's made. No real friends, no parties as a teenager. Others are doing other things. He wasn't. Probably the most intense story was they used to hit a ball like most kids that like tennis or any sport up in his bedroom. He'd be hitting it against the wall and everything else. And then eventually his mum would have enough of that, the banging of the ball against the wall, so she'd take the ball away. And he said he used to spend, you know, an hour or so shadow swinging on his own in the room, just shadow swinging his ground strokes. That is some intense.
That might be a little bit of OCD.
Yes. Right, we saw the win predictor at the start. What was it, 57?
57, yeah.
57?
57.43 now. 67.33. That's an.
Okay, explain to me.
I'm not very good at math.
No, but I
Mark.
want you to explain to me.
I'm pretty sure it's a set apiece now, isn't it?
Yeah, so we've gone from 57 at the start, and now we're sort of back at even.
I want to talk to the win predictor.
You can't, it's like ELC.
I want to get an explanation of how they came up with that number.
Nice to be judge and jury.
30.
Although maybe the win predictor knew there was a break just around the corner.
I was just thinking the same thing. It's a big point here. That's a bomb.
It's also the shortness in the box.
Yeah,
I mean, because if you go fast and deep, you got a chance of, you don't create so much angle. But the first serve of this game, I mean, it was just halfway up the box. Same with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that one going out wide on the ad side, that's short in the boxes.
(40-30).
Holger wanted to jump on that one. Just trying to add some gas to that backhand. Just got away from him. A little opportunity there for sure.
Decent hole.
Berrettini.
Had to dig in a bit there, Berrettini, and find some decent first. Curious, if you were coaching Runa at that stage, 30 all start of the third set, you've got that backhand. Would you like to see him step on the gas there? Or would you like him to just test out Berrettini's backhand, which is his Achilles heel?
I like the play. I would have applauded that play.
Yep.
That was a ball for me to attack.
Yep.
I wouldn't have cared whether he went line or he was trying to go cross court there. His movement to the ball was pretty ideal, to be honest with you. And he recognized that it was a ball that gave him time, and he wanted to be able to jump on that and do some damage. I think at this level, you have to do that. You have to take the responsibility on yourself when you have those kind of balls to try and do something to generate offense, put the other guy on defense. You might not win the ball. It might not be a clean winner, but you're going to get something out of that. She wasn't sure there. 15 love.
30-11.
A couple of missed forehands on the move out to his right there.
Oh.
That was such an interesting point from Berrettini. I really liked the first two slices, able to find the slice into the backhand, then the forehand up the line, got him a shorter ball out of this that he was able to attack into the backhand side. Hit a decent first volley and then was just leaning, looking for the pass down the line. A little bit off balance there. Well done.
Very quick out of the serve, isn't he, into squaring up, being able to make that move. Finds the space down the line.
Third set.
And he sits down with the game between them. 2-1. Start of the season always with a bit of optimism for these players. It's a fresh start, clean page, no defeats. Holger coming down to Australia, got a very tough opening round against Jiří Lehečka in Brisbane, and in the end that loss that he picked up in his first match of the season would have felt a little bit better by the end, as Lehečka picked up his second career title of the year, of his career, sorry.
Yeah, Jiří seems to like the start of the year. He won Adelaide last year, won Brisbane this year, and he likes the courts down here, likes whatever it is. He seems to produce some of his best tennis early on in the year.
Time.
Talked a little bit about the record crowds flocking in here. Over 60,000 today for the day session. That's 6,000 more than last year, as you can see there. Cain Arena is at capacity. It is the second biggest court here in terms of number of fans that can come in. 10,500 fans in here, bigger than the Margaret Court Arena. Good start to the game, through the middle with depth. Berrettini's forehand that's oscillated between awesome and average. At the moment, again, just a little subdued.
Wow. That's athleticism. Again, so impressed with Holger's explosiveness in his first step moving forward. A lot of times that's a movement pattern that a lot of guys are a little bit uncomfortable with, but his explosiveness out of the blocks there to get to that ball, and then with two hands to be able to come over that. Matteo telling himself it wasn't a very smart shot.
Oh, and he's made that. Danish delight.
Great return to start this point. You don't get credit for this kind of a play. He fought to get that ball in play, and then this is just spectacular. Outside the court the entire way.
Well, an absolute Hall of Fame return game there from Holger Rune.
New
And
balls,
everything.
please.
The perfect first return, deep through the middle. A couple of unbelievable highlight shots that he pulled off, and then the defense.
Amazing, amazing stuff. And then, did you see how excited Lars was there? that's about as excited as he gets. That was an amazing game from Holger. To be able to put the ball in play, all 4 points in a row there from those positions, and that's where it all starts. Finding a way to neutralize those serves and at least get yourself in the points. Always a big game here now to consolidate behind the break. Not the start that you want.
Working a little bit on his serve in terms of just trying to regain that accuracy that was such a highlight for him back in 2022. And there have definitely been signs of improvement in this match. The advantage of serving a little quicker with his second serve, again going back a couple of years, sort of borne out on that return, because it allows you the luxury to drop in one a little shorter, a little slower out wide, because your opponent has to cover the quicker serve coming at you. Smooth progress in this third set for Runa. 4-1.
4 games to 1, third set.
He's an interesting character, Lars, isn't he? Just listening to him talk about things. Haven't had an in-depth conversation with him as well, Brad, but he talks a lot about developmental stages for players at a young age. He says all the way through, you've talked about it, how working with youngsters like 6-year-olds and is actually good for coaches ultimately. And he says, you know, from his experience, kids don't just want to play, they want to learn. They actually want to learn to be better.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I mean, kids are sponges. They always want to learn new skills. They always want to be challenged a little bit, and they want to please. And so when you give them those kind of things to work on, whether it's technical or tactical or whatever it might be, they give you what they have normally. You learn so much about each individual kid as they're going through that process.
Time.
Have walked onto court 5 times previously in terms of trying to play matches against each other. A couple of times it's been this man that hasn't been able to finish. Acapulco in 23. It was a right calf problem that made him retire. He was actually 6-love, 1-love down before going off. Didn't even take to the court with the oblique ab problem in Monte Carlo in 23. Berrettini. There are some that unkindly say that he would have been happy with a calf injury, but hey. Oh yeah, that was technically flawless.
30 love.
But they've been tight, the matches that have gone on in the past. Berrettini got him the first time, as we see this picture perfect volley. Indian Wells, 3 sets, 6-4 in the third. Last couple of times coming last year, Cincinnati and Shanghai. 6-4 and 6-3 respectively in the third.
Berrettini. Rune leads by 4 games to 2, third set.
Just got to stay close. Keep himself there or thereabouts. Try and test the nerve of Runa, who has run away with this third set to some degree.
Still only 1 break, though. 1 break is never enough at this level. Guys are too good, too dangerous. You give away a point here or there, they hit a couple winners, and all of a sudden you're back on serve. There is a gift right there. That first point of these games like this is always so big. It just establishes a bit of momentum, a bit of freedom.
Halt.
A lot of gesticulation going on there at the end of that point from Holger. Still looking at his camp. It's interesting back with Lars. I think Lars's demeanor is really good for Holger, to be honest with you. If you look back at some of the other situations that he was in, he was demanding that the guys in the box stand up after every point that he would win, that they would give him more energy and more emotion. I like the fact that Lars is actually just quiet and calm. Ooh. That was a bit of a shocker there for Matteo. I think it's important as a coach and as a team that you want to model the behavior and the attitude and the presentation that you want from your player on the court. she hit the microphone mid-point.
It's not loud. It's not loud.
It's not loud. It's only loud.
It's coming from the crowd.
She said that came from the crowd. Am I mistaken? Did she not bump the microphone? I thought she absolutely bumped the microphone.
You sure it's not that? You know when they drop something on the stairs.
Yeah, did you hear what Matteo said? It was on the speaker.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she bumped the microphone.
For me, I thought it came from the stand when they're dropping something from the stand. And I'm not going to call that for that. I didn't hear that it came from the speakers. Okay, this I didn't hear. I didn't understand that. Then
Interesting.
Let's go.
40-15.
Does sound like the mic.
Sounds like the mic.
It's got not, but it is rule 27B that if it's not loud, you don't play a replay.
Does it say loud?
It says loud. 27.B.
Are you joking me? It says loud?
Of course I'm joking you.
Thank goodness. I actually, you got me. I thought you were being serious. Someone wrote a rule that said it has to be loud. Wow. Great deck there from Holger.
That was good.
That was very good, and a good hold.
Runa
5-2 to
leads by
Runa.
5-2, third set.
That was where we needed Daniil Medvedev or maybe Andy Roddick there for the loud. I'm sure they would have jumped on that in a second.
Yeah, exactly. A quick one though. As an aside to that, on a serious note, why didn't Matteo actually go back to the video review and ask for the audio?
I was going to say, and then they started showing it, so I stopped. But I was going to say we need an audio replay.
I think she hears the sound. I don't think she just sees the video. She puts the headphones on, so I'm pretty sure.
I would imagine.
that Louise would hear that noise that was wherever it came from.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. If she did bump the microphones, you would think that she would have, said, "I'm sorry, I bumped the microphones. That was my fault." Maybe she just didn't own up to it. I don't know.
Kind of trudging out of his chair after that little moment, Berrettini. Big bridge for him to cross back over to get himself back on level terms in this third set.
No.
That's a well-constructed point. I like that. Sometimes for me, Berrettini comes out of the inside-out forehand exchange too early and pulls the ball down the line. That time he stayed 4 balls in a row to the Runa backhand and then created this opening to be able to do real damage with the cross-court ball and or an inside-in ball. I feel like he just has to be a bit more patient to work into the backhand corner before he pulls the ball inside in.
Out.
40-11.
Just a hint that Runa's allowed his mind to wander to the 5-3 scoreline and an opportunity for him to serve it out there.
It's a nice pass from Rune.
It's not a bad approach shot as well, because he's gone cross-court every single time.
No, it wasn't a bad approach at all, and that's why, for me, that pass, one of the things I love to see when guys are passing like that is that you got to really snap the ball with some serious rotation, but your target should be short. You want to keep it down. If the guy does cover, you want him to cover from low. Wow.
40-30.
Suddenly this game has grabbed his attention.
Those kind of points can really change momentum. Losing a point that you feel like is about a 99.9% chance that you're gonna win. Frustrating. And a little bit. That's a good response though. It's nice to have that in your pocket to come with behind an error like that.
What you're seeing now is an extravaganza of talent that Runa has to return this serve as magnificently as he's done here. To get himself back in contention is impressive.
Great depth there from Berrettini. And for me, this is a well-competed game from Holger, though. It would be easy to just kind of let this game go. And
I thought he was,
in your mind, yeah, in your mind, you're like, well, I'm going to hold it. It's not that big a deal, but you're only one break up, and all of a sudden there's some pressure in that game trying to serve out this set. A lot nicer if you can get through here and break. And he will have to serve for it, though. Back to what I said before now, this first point of this game, serving for a set. Such a big point for both players.
Do you stick by your theory that you'd rather go to the forehand?
At this point, after 2 hours and 17 minutes of playing, I think that, you know, you got to feel it out there a little bit as a player. You know what the patterns have been. Has he been sitting on different things? And you know, you've got to mix it up. You got to pitch a good game here.
Let's first serve.
Which he's done magnificently.
It was good there. With off the let serve, he had gone to the forehand, and then he comes back and goes to the backhand. It's a little bit of, okay, you saw I was going to forehand there. Should I go back to the forehand? You think that I think that, I think that you think that. It's always the chess match within a tennis match, is the serve and return. Nicely done.
30-11.
That's a confident approach shot in my mind. Didn't try to overplay it. Well struck, solid, simple. Again, good serving, getting a mid-court ball, good execution coming forward. been a very confident game right here from Holger.
Pure perfection from Rune. He is just one set away from a place in the third round of the Australian Open.
Just turning that over a little bit too quickly. Got to extend the swing out a little bit more. Or as my good friend Tom Gullickson would say, that's a trajectory here. Trajectory's too low.
No, but there was before.
Whoa.
15
Cut that a little finer than he wanted to, touching the tape, which sent it just a little bit left. Still found the line. Great pass there from Holger. Important off this approach. You see there, Holger did not give any ground. Stayed up into the ball, took it early off the bounce. You can't let that slice push you back.
It's been one of the things that I know in the off-season that, again, it seems to be like they're going sort of back to the past, but he is trying to hug the baseline more, which is not easy against Berrettini's forehand, but he has done a good job, and you picked on it nicely there, Brad. And what a start this would be to the fourth set.
30-14.
Berrettini erases the first of the two break points with an ace.
I think he's also found a little bit of a vulnerable spot in the armor of Berrettini's. He's hurt him, and Berrettini's made that error a few times, moving to his right to cover forehands.
Let's.
That was a bomba. Well done from Berrettini.
Juice.
Halt.
Advantage Berrettini.
Let's just take a little look at what Runa's been doing. We've been talking about trying to take the ball closer to the baseline, which means you're going to take it on the rise, and he's just done a better job as the sets have gone through this particular match, maybe feeling a little bit more comfortable against Berrettini's ball.
There it was again, but off of a slice that time. Berrettini moving to his right. Seems to me that a lot of the errors that have come off the forehand has been when he's having to move out to his right, whether it's on the run or not. He's pushed to that side. That's where he's been giving away some points.
Tags the baseline of Berrettini off another quality return through the middle of the court.
Smart from Holger there. Little tiny difference between the previous side. He got jammed on the forehand, and I think he felt that Berrettini was going to come back there again. He cleared space just a little bit more to give himself some freedom to really make a full swing on that ball. A real opportunity now with second serve.
It's another one that finds the net off the forehand. Too higher a percentage have gone into the net for Berrettini. He has not cleared it, as Brad was saying. And Runa clears the first hurdle in this fourth set very quickly by grabbing the break. Forehand, it has to be said, for Berrettini has been a little suboptimal today. It's usually a shot that you want to stay away from, like I do salads.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you know, it's the shot. Normally he's not going to win or lose matches based on his backhand primarily. It's the forehand. He's either going to win or he's going to lose based on the forehand. And today the forehand has let him down a little bit too much to create these kind of opportunities for Runa.
I want to go back to as well the mentality you said Lars is bringing to Holger, the best decision he's made for last year. Okay, he was a little combustible. He was loitering on the edge of the emotional volcano in the second set. We saw that. But because Lars is there and perhaps that consistent sort of look at Holger, he's brought him back to where he's needed to be. And he hasn't wavered since.
I think that's absolutely true, Mark. I mean, this is one of the calmest presentations that I've seen from Runa throughout a match. And he was a little bit out of sorts in the first, and then went through a little phase in the second as well. But we haven't seen that, as I mentioned before. We haven't seen that where he's demanding from the box that they have to stand up, that they have to, you know, kind of go crazy after every single point that he wins. And that presentation from the box, I think, creates a very up and down scenario for him emotionally throughout the match. He's been way more stable this match. That's the Berrettini we expect.
15
And that also came from the offside. Like I said, he's had a little bit more trouble when he's had to play the forehand from the deuce side of the court, but that ball right there, pretty good.
Fault.
And that is a kind of two-pronged solution to playing Berrettini, because it's one thing for us to sit here and for everyone to say you want Berrettini to hit his forehand out of the forehand corner. You've got to be a great athlete as well to be able to mop up enough from what comes back from there to get the error. Yeah,
absolutely, because it's not like he's missing every ball from there. Obviously, he's still ripping forehands out of that side. But I think if you're Runa, if Berrettini plays the forehand out of the forehand corner to the backhand, that puts Runa in a position to really stand on a backhand and make Berrettini have to go to the backhand. If he goes cross court, I think he's more than happy to exchange forehands cross court.
Yeah, the one thing you know about Holger, he's got the courage of a lunatic. He is never going to back down. And that was one of the exciting things when he was just accelerating through that draw in Paris, picking up 5 top 10 wins, was just, you know, he never backed down. It was redlining on second serves. It was just charismatic tennis that carried into the final. And that can't last forever. That can pick you up a title, but it's tough to repeat. Got to find some sort of medium.
Absolutely, and I mean, I like your quote better than mine, but to me, it's a little bit the exuberance of youth. I mean, when he was playing in 2022, he was playing fearless tennis, almost as if he didn't understand, you know, like, you're supposed to be scared here. You know, this is a huge point, but he didn't feel any of that. And again, we talked about expectations as he's gotten a little bit older and a little bit more mature and spent a little bit more time on the tour. Miss. He's probably got a better understanding where there is a little bit of fear that creeped in. It's like, this is a massive point. Now I know that. I don't have that freedom. I don't have that fearlessness that you have as an 18-year-old sometimes. And that's part of that weight of expectation that we talked about earlier in the match.
And that's the beautiful thing when players stay with coaches, is that you can manage those valleys, and there's not just with the better players, of course, there's a few less valleys, but with all these players there's going to be these moments where you go into the unknown and this new experience hits you, and if you can get through those together, I genuinely believe that those partnerships are the best. I feel as though coaches have been discarded far too quickly in the past, because it's just looking for a quick solution to a problem.
I'm with you. Don't discard me.
On the board in the fourth, but trailing by 2-1 and 2-1 in games.
Rune leads by 2-1, full set.
And just wanted to have a quick look at what we were talking about today, just to say that it wasn't just the eye test in terms of the way that Berrettini has been missing his forehand. This actually reminds me a lot of Sasha, and his kind of like when he was a bit in and out with his forehand. He had a wild stat where 50% of them will be in the net, and you think, wow, he's got a 2,800 to 3,000 RPM forehand that's going to drop in. If you stick it a meter over the net, you cannot hit it long almost. And it's the same today. I wouldn't, if I was helping Matteo, I wouldn't be happy with how many have gone into the net here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he has a high spin rate, so go to, and if you feel that you are struggling, maybe he doesn't feel that. I would imagine that he does. So if you feel that you are struggling, then I think the adjustment that you make is a little more net clearance with a heavier ball. think about heaviness instead of pace through the court. He's got to cut down on those errors.
Yeah, and also when you look at a match in its sort of totality, and you look at the errors in the net, what the flip side of that is the fact that his length of forehand, there we go, there's a number of forehand unforced errors, 30, at least 15 of those are coming in the net. Your length is probably short as well, because you're so narrow over the top of the tape that you're actually not getting good depth with it as well. So even the ones you're making are actually not as effective. Hasn't run out of time. You can't run out of the clock. You can't spike the ball in this sport. But can he find a solution?
Done from Berrettini, a couple of very good forehands in that rally, including the one that we talked about out wide to the forehand side. That last ball from Holger, just a little bit short in the court, gave Berrettini a chance to hold that ball.
Just sometimes feel on his backhand, he stays tall on the ball. You want to lose a little bit of height as a tennis player at the back of the court. You want your maximum height on serve, and on your groundies you kind of want to, and sometimes I feel like that front leg stays quite high.
Yeah, on that last ball. He also, there was a point there where he made a good slice defensively down the line and got a backhand again that he just didn't knife enough. He sliced it, but it was right to the middle of the court.
Game, Runa.
He had an opportunity there with that slice to really pull Runa.
Runa leads by 3 games to 1 at full set.
And open the court and just wasn't able to do it.
Love the way that Holger, alongside Mike James, is going to digging into the strategy all the time. He has toggled it nicely to play in the backhand, but again, another good serve there at 40. So easy to get lulled into just banging a big serve down the tee on that point at 40-15. Thinking you're going to cheat one into the backhand side of Berrettini, but ultimately, more often than not, that's the one that Berrettini puts through the middle of the court with depth.
He's done a very good job for quite a few games now. He just looks very comfortable on serving.
And his mum on the right. Anniki and Alma, his sister, on the left of your picture.
Witness. 30-11.
Berrettini serve delivers for him. Swift hold. 3-2 Runa, fourth set.
3 games to 2, fourth set.
Talked a little bit about Berrettini's forehand. I just want to have a little look at his backhand here, Brad. When you look at it, he takes it quite high, doesn't he, with the hands? Like the racket face is almost pointing vertically up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's compact. It's a short swing, and he kind of accelerated his hands through it, but he's really strong with the front shoulder. You see the turn right there.
It's interesting, it's so high, that racket face, isn't it? I mean, the best backhands kind of keep the racket face parallel to the ground, even though there's some sort of little C-shaped loop.
There's always a bit of a loop for sure, but I think in general, guys with two-handers tend to be setting the racket much lower than where he's at. Reminds me a little bit back in the old days of the Spaniard that beat Jim Courier in the finals of the French. I'm blanking.
Brad Steiner just trying to remember Sergi Bruguera's name.
That's it. I hate it when my dementia kicks in like that.
Yeah, but I mean, that racket face of Berrettini's on the back, and when it's that vertically, if you can get it fast through, that's why he almost has to chip it. It's tough to go from the top of that swing, isn't it, to get it low enough.
Absolutely.
See why he's had so much success on clay, apart from the serve and being able to take care of that nice and cleanly. The fact the racket's already up there on the clay is nice, a bit like Tsitsipas's one-hander, which works much better on clay than on quicker courts.
Just gives him a little bit more time.
And the racket's already up around his shoulder height. Is this the game that gives Berrettini a little bit of a boost?
Laver Arena.
Even when losing the first point of the game, Holger's come back strong every single time on that ad side. The first serve to the tee has been pretty consistent when he's lost that first point.
Change course.
I feel like he outthought himself there. Court was obviously open to the offside. Again,
15-14.
Serving his way out of trouble.
Berrettini doing his best here to slow him down. breathtaking break point by Berrettini. One of the points of the day.
Absolutely.
3
What a
games
point.
on futsal.
Absolute barrage from Berrettini. Unrelenting throughout that point. Found a way to just put Holger on defense over and over again
Thank you,
throughout
ladies
that
and
point.
gentlemen. Players are ready. Thank you. Stop.
A rocket ship from Holger Rune on that one.
How much of effect did the previous return have on that second serve for Berrettini?
Yeah, absolutely. You had the sense after those first 2 points in this game that Berrettini was just going to run away with this hold. Now all of a sudden, under some serious pressure here. What a big time return from Holger Rune. Obviously not the depth or the pace, but to be able to just put the racket on that ball and make Berrettini have to play.
Berrettini able to capitalise on a ball he probably shouldn't have had. A miss-hit from Runa.
See here, Holger going down at the end of that point. Definitely didn't go down very hard. Shaking out his wrist a little bit, but
advantage Berrettini.
Out.
distance to the finishing line, Runa. He has a lot of work ahead of him now. Lovely pivot from Berrettini to move back in front in this fourth set. Berrettini is back in front, courtesy of a holder serve, but more importantly, Brad, because of this rally.
Yeah, this was a phenomenal point. Best point of the match so far, probably. This get right here from Runa was unbelievable. The racket work to put that ball back in play. And then from here, Berrettini was just an offensive machine.
This is a great little look at this in terms of distance run, but also the shot. How many in the backhand side, and why you don't want to go there on the big moments, because Berrettini was just hanging there, hitting forehands for fun.
Finding a forehand every time.
Well, let's hope this is nothing too serious here for Holger Rune. We saw him go down, as Brad said, at the towards the end of that particular game. Here it is. There's the try to pick it up, the slide. Didn't look like much.
It was more of a sit down than a fall.
Ladies and gentlemen,
he did put his
Rune is now receiving a medical timeout.
Left hand down to kind of brace himself, and seems like he irritated his wrist a little bit.
Doesn't look to be grimacing too much, which is a good sign from the way it's getting kind of manipulated here at the moment.
Depends on him. I don't know. I'm good.
All good? Doesn't look as though that was an official medical timeout, does it?
No, I think that was just the physio coming out during the time frame of the changeover, so it doesn't take a timeout there.
Almost looked as though he just wanted a little bit of peace of mind there, Runa, that there was nothing more serious.
Maybe some company during the break.
Thank you.
Good awareness from Rune. He knew what was coming, the little floated chip, and he made sure he was tight on the net. Had he been any slower, that might have ended up being a slightly more awkward volley.
Yeah, it's a good hard close to get that while it was still above the level of the net.
Out.
Nicely
done. Again, that shortness in the box. It makes the difference there. 167 Ks, but short and breaking away.
Fault.
And has been unsuccessful every time he's tried it.
40-30.
And Berrettini just parked on the baseline. It wasn't really the right time to play it.
Yeah, it wasn't a shot selection's questionable there. Holger's a little bit too deep to make that play, and Berrettini is a little bit too close to make that play. Nicely done right there.
Cain, Runa.
Great moments in matches these, aren't they? What's
4
going to make
games
the
on
difference?
fourth set.
Couple of nice little forays into the net there for Runa in that particular game.
We go back again to what we were talking about earlier. I thought Holger did a really good job after that break, giving up serve, of staying emotionally stable through to this point, and good hold there. You got to remember that, you know, okay, you gave the break back, but you're on serve. You're not down, you're not behind.
The exhale point you could see here, 9th game as we started, and Berrettini knew was second best in that particular rally after the forehand cross from Runa. Escape one.
Fault.
Love.
Once again,
Berrettini.
dropping the hammer, dropping the pace. Nothing that Runa can do about that. 5-4, Berrettini, fourth set.
Fourth set.
There's a little lightness in the Italian step as he walks towards the changeover here. Understandably so. Down 2 sets to 1 and a break. Optimism would have been ebbing away, but it is resurgent right now, and it's Runa's job to just not try and open the door too early in this next game for Berrettini to try and push through and take this into a decider. Well, it's lived up to its billing. Previous matches that they played that have actually gone to a conclusion have all been in deciding sets, and it wouldn't be a surprise if this one got there. Camera drifting back to Melbourne CBD, and the fans that are still glued to the TVs around the grounds. They might well be still here looking at this one an hour from now. The Italians certainly hope that's the case. Their man battling back in the 4th set.
That approach was very middle of the court. Berrettini wasn't able to do a lot with this. He could have gone behind him, tried to go in front of him, but just didn't hit it very clean.
Love that footwork pattern, though. The little hop off the left leg,
yeah,
transitioning quickly as possible. Saved him. So many players you see set with the semi-open stance and then they can't get off that platform.
Oh. Going big on that second serve again. Yeah, or on that approach shot, you see too often they actually come sometimes with the right foot even forward. Opens the hip too much. Hard to keep the shoulders turned from that position.
Thank you.
Let's go.
30-14.
We've seen a little adjustment here. I don't know if it's an adjustment or if he's being forced to, but Berrettini's definitely gone more often to the block forehand return. You saw it there again. On that ad side especially, Holger has served a very high percentage of balls to the forehand side. I don't mind the block return from Berrettini. It's got to carry through the court a little bit more. It's got to try and get a little more stick on it.
Holger pulling up alongside Berrettini in this fourth set. All still to play for. Every point priceless. Every shot matters.
Pressure for both guys now. Neither of them can afford to give much away.
Love.
That's a bullet to start.
Talked a little bit in his presser about how he's trying to push a bit more with his right leg, not his landing leg, the left leg, trying to keep up a little bit taller for longer. Tough to improve this delivery though. Simple, brilliant, and exactly what he needed. 6-5, fourth set, Berrettini.
Full set.
While we take a break, let us inspire your next adventure. Fly with us in comfort to London, Edinburgh, Athens or Rome, Paris or Dublin, and over 40 cities across Europe. But remember, it's not just the destination,
Sun's down,
it's also how you
shades over the benches down. Hopes, however, up for the 28-year-old Berrettini. Looked like they were sinking away when he went down a break early in this fourth set, but he's rescued the situation. The pressure now all on the 21-year-old to take us into a second tiebreaker in this match. fans as fully engaged as both players out there.
Please.
What a first ball pickup from Holger. That was a
15.
very quality return from Berrettini. Pretty fearless swing there from Holger. Picked it up off the quick hop and change of direction. Just mishit that backhand. Probably right here, probably should have been a transition ball, which would have carried his weight through the ball a little bit. He didn't want to come in behind that one, kind of held himself back from fully committing to hitting the ball.
Downside of going back to the forehand a little too frequently. Berrettini put the brakes on.
That was not the best geometry also. He's a little bit too wide to come back to the forehand from there. Massive point right now.
Please switch off the sound.
Wow. Brave or lucky? That second serve found the outside of the line. And did it seem, was it not a little bit of a mishit? I think that came off the racket a little bit unclean.
The outcome was exactly what he wanted.
Got a perfect ball out of it. Stretched Berrettini to the max. Berrettini executing from the forehand corner that time.
30-14.
Holger a little bit tentative in that point.
Right from the get-go, wasn't it? 175k first serve.
Thank you. Please.
Berrettini has clawed his way back. He deserves this opportunity.
Feel the tension out there right now. Berrettini with a blocked forehand on a second serve.
These are the best moments in tennis, when you have the eruption from the crowd and then you have the silence underlining the notoriety of the moment.
Please, thank you. Advantage. Berrettini.
25-mark quicker first serve, got the response he was looking for. But he couldn't find the target with the forehand, and a second chance for Berrettini.
Please.
He wants them out of their seats.
Yes.
Some are on the edge of their seats, and some are behind their seats, like Matteo's dad.
This is great drama right now. Gotta love it. Those last two airs off of each of their rackets
Thank
produced
you.
just because of the pressure in this moment.
Advantage. Runa.
The agony and the ecstasy. You look at the body language difference there after that. See if Holger can find a first serve here. It's disappeared for a moment.
Thank you.
Fault.
Runa.
Elation for Runa.
6 games
No
all.
time for desolation
Full set
for
to time.
Berrettini. There's work ahead of him.
Thank you, players are ready.
Straight points on serve for Berrettini since he faced a break point at 3-all in this fourth set.
1-0 Berrettini.
That was an extremely well constructed and well executed point. Such a good finishing ball there. Pressure back on Runa. See if he can find a first serve again. Continuing to target the forehand on the first serve. Berrettini staying with the chip. Especially on that ad side, at some point, he's got to sit on that a little bit, I think.
blindsided by the brilliance of Berrettini.
2-1 Berrettini.
He was cautious about going with the short angle drop volley again that he's hit so many times. He went deep. And Berrettini picks him off.
Berrettini.
Well, it's always easy to look at the outcome, isn't it, and say that Berrettini has missed, obviously, a golden opportunity, but you've got to give Runa credit for the return and the dig out wide. Not many would have forced Berrettini to hit the volley.
Yeah, again, goes back to what we said earlier, Mark. It starts with the return. That stab return is a great play on his part. You've got to make the guy play. He did.
Quickest serve of the day by Berrettini at 2:16. Came back. But the Italian is back in front.
4-2 Berrettini.
A couple times now we've seen Runa set the point up, gotten what he wanted, hasn't been able to execute. It's a brutal game, isn't it? Based so much on errors, which is so hard on the mentality.
He was in front in this set. He is now fighting for his survival. The return pulled the pin out on that point. The final forehand was always going to detonate.
Made the adjustment on those last two serves. Runa continuing to target the forehand, but Berrettini took full swings on the last two returns, including that last one. Big forehand return cross court. There it is again, Mark. Great job by Runa.
5-3.
Finding a way to put those huge first serves back into play. That one getting pretty deep. Still down a mini break. He's been the scrambling man.
5-4 Berrettini.
It's funny, isn't it? Because the points that Berrettini's won to get ahead have been impressive. Big forehands, knocking them off, clean winners. And the points that Runa's played to get back have been scrambling, fighting to make returns, digging that backhand right there.
The one thing he did well was just position himself a little bit off the net. He wasn't going to get beaten by the lob again.
Absolutely. Berrettini actually got in trouble there because he overran the ball. He was expecting something bigger and more placements out wide to the forehand. Holger definitely not willing to make an error there, but not willing to take a lot of risk either. That forehand up the line was short in the court. Didn't have much on it. Can he scramble and scrap one more return here?
Thank you.
He scrapped again for the short ball that he knew was coming, but Berrettini shot just a little too good for Runa. A match point comes and goes for the Dane.
Great entertainment here. Where does the serve go?
Runa.
And Berrettini just telling himself to have gone big through the middle of the court rather than trying to drag it onto the line. And from a double break up in this tiebreaker, suddenly Berrettini finds himself down a second match point, but this time on Runa's serve.
Please.
Holger's in heaven. A third round appearance once again here at the Australian Open. Tennis showcase in its finest form.
What a well-competed tiebreaker from Holger Rune. Didn't play his best tennis through that breaker. Berrettini was the better ball striker through the breaker, but Holger Rune just competed. Scrambling, digging, fighting for every ball there.
It was so tight. We look forward to seeing the man of Italy again back here at Melbourne Park.
And for a man that's had to scrap so hard, Berrettini, to get himself back into sort of contention to match fitness, that will be a painful loss for him. Those opportunities to push it into a 5th set, but it wasn't to be.
Please put your hands together and also congratulate the efforts today and throughout the tournament that have really Matteo Berrettini, ladies and gentlemen.
Former semi-finalist here back in 2022, the Italian. Three titles last year. There won't be one in Melbourne for him this year, but it is great to see him back and competing with some of the world's best players. Holger Rune. He's with Josh Eagle.
Holger, congratulations. Unbelievable effort to get the self-belief to come back deep in that 4th set. Where did that come from?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was an unbelievable match, you know. I had the early break in the 4th set, but he played a very good game, you know, made it tricky for me. And at the end, it was a huge battle, you know, whoever was best in important moments. But, you know, I can only say what an atmosphere, guys. So thank you so much for bringing that energy.
A very mature performance for you. Very calm, very focused. Is that a new Holger Rune?
I try. I mean, I try to play my best tennis, you know, and I try to stay focused. And it was obviously, you know, some moments, a lot of tension today because the score and everything, but it was fun, you know. I enjoyed every moment of it, even though some moments enjoyed less, but that's life, that's tennis, so.
This crowd absolutely loved it. You put on a great show. Best of luck. Everyone, Holger Rune.